Recently I told someone, I'm tired of crying from losing friends. One of the first people I ran into in my professional racing career just passed away recently, and it really hit me hard, and I'm not exactly sure why. I considered him one of my mentors, and he was the last of the three that I looked up to that are now all gone. Steve Waid, a writer, an executive editor, and author, passed away after various health problems over the last few years. You had probably seen him before. He'd been on some television broadcasts. You might have heard him on MRN. And he'd done some expert commentary here and there. And he was also on YouTube on a podcast with my buddy Rick Houston. I hit 5'10" at about 10 or 11, so it was a little hard to tell how old I was at that time. So I used to crawl under fences at the races and get access, and a lot of times the officials wouldn't bother me. But after a while, I got caught enough, and what's the old saying? That if you can't beat them, join them? So after making a friendship with the late Dick Beatty, who was NASCAR director at the time, he would issue me passes at Michigan. I was 15 and had just bought a nice Pentax 35mm photo rig. I tracked down a photographer by the name of David Shobat, whose photos were everywhere in print, and I was quite enamored with his images, and asked if he could use a hand. It was he and another photographer named Elmer Capel, and he said sure. So that was my start in professional motorsports. When I found him, I said, "Do you mind if I give you a hand?" He didn't know me from Adam. I'd spoken to him before, but of course it was just an in passing hi, get away from me, kid kind of thing, because he didn't know me. And I said, he said, "Do you have 35mm film?" I said, "I do." So it was he, Elmer Capel, and myself covering this 2-mile track as photographers. With my pass, which at the time was not as strict as it is now, I was granted access to the media center and was introduced to the two writers that were at Grand National Scene at the time, executive editor Steve Waid and Gary McCready. I had read their work before, and along with Joe Whitlock, had emulated their writing styles. Now, I never met Joe, but Steve and Gary quickly became good friends and confidants, and in the writing department became my mentors, while David became my photographer mentor. Steve was one of those rare bosses that he could command a room and demanded respect, but was not mean-spirited. He had a great sense of humor, but you did not take him as the fool in the room. Steve was a teacher. Steve would show you a certain way to do things. Steve was on your side if he believed in your cause. I clearly remember one time when I left to go start my ARCA magazine, he found out that ARCA was not happy with what I was doing. I remember him saying, "What? What? I can't believe it. I can't believe it." Well, I did my ARCA magazine from 1991 until 1996, and Scene, under Steve's leadership and direction as executive editor, just skyrocketed. They followed in the path of NASCAR's growth, and it helped them to expand and get more popular as well. I sadly wasn't there for that. I had left in the middle of 1991 because I couldn't do both. I'd miss an ARCA race from the midpoint of that season until the end of 96. Quite a few years back now, I went to fellow Grand National or NASCAR Scene, or whatever you want to call it, one of their contributors, Brian Hallman, also a photographer who I had met and worked with from 1991 on up, and said, "Hey, why don't we do a Scene reunion?" And he said, "That's a great idea." I said, "Listen, I live in Detroit and you live in North Carolina. I can't do this without you, so can you please help?" So he said, sure. So he basically handled the logistics of the plans, the date, when to coincide it with, and that was usually with all the media stuff before the start of the season. In 2009, scene discontinued, mostly because of the internet, and then its counterpart, NASCAR Illustrated, also ended production. But we still wanted to get together because we would now see each other at the racetrack, but we didn't get a chance to visit like we used to because now we were all doing different things and working for different people. It was sadly at about this time where we realized that Steve was starting to have health issues, and at times it could be difficult to understand him. But with that resilience and strength, he pushed on. I'd made a point to always seek Mr. Waid out, because I'd known him the longest, well, almost the longest of all the people that were still around. And it was just that presence, that wisdom. And Steve was a trooper. He was brave. He didn't care what people think. At least he didn't let it publicly be known. But he soldiered on, continued writing, continued attending functions, continued the podcast with Rick Houston, and now he's got his ultimate reward, and that's in glory. And I know he's excited to be with Tom Higgins, and they can make more posters now, like this one called Knights of the Mystic Sea. If you want to hear the whole tale, listen to he and Rick talk about it on their podcast. Thank you so much, Steve, for what you left behind for all of us to emulate. Well, folks, if you haven't noticed in the last couple of weeks, we haven't been uploading any videos on the Tuesdays. It's been kind of sporadic.
Okay.
So one thing that's been telling us is, priorities.
Okay.
We've been getting other things done, and so some of these videos have taken a back seat to the every Tuesday broadcast schedule at noon.
Okay.
We know we've got a definite small loyal following, but I'll be honest with you, doing a lot of work and not a lot of views.
Okay.
And stop saying okay all the time, okay?
Okay.
Good.
Which I guess tells me that it's okay to take a few weeks off like we plan on doing this summer.
You don't like it?
But I will say this. There's plenty of videos in our catalog that you can watch. Why don't you go on back? If you miss some of our content, hey, there's plenty more to put your eyes on.
No, I don't like it.
We appreciate your understanding in the matter. And, okay, is everyone listening? Everyone? Everyone?
What do you mean, everyone?
Don't yell at me.
We will return probably about the time kids head back to school, Labor Day-ish. Don't want to say end of summer because end of summer is September 21st, and it won't be that long. So again, we appreciate our loyal followers, and, tell folks about it. Like and share, please. Don't cost anything. And, we'll be back soon. We're not giving up. We know some people have taken a break and have come on back. Just got to get things lined up. So thanks, folks. Have a good summer. And we may publish some shorts here and there. So keep an eye out for that. But again, thank you and stay cool. And do like Mike says.
I watched this before. My little brother goes, like and subscribe right here.
Bombadita, 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 bombadita,
Until
bombadita,
we meet
bombadita,
again.
bombadita,
Happy trails to you.
bombadita, bombadita,
Keep smiling
bombadita,
until
bombadita,
then.